Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Matthew with Watty's channel. As we are continuing on with the WWE Mattel Retro line. So we're currently in Series 6, and Series 6 was the first of two 2018 releases. Now, in 2018, we also had the retro wrestling ring that was released. I'm not going to show mine. For those who've seen the Hasbro ring back in the 90s, it's basically reminiscent of that, almost completely identical. In fact, when you look at it, very little difference to the two rings between Hasbro and the Mattel Retro ring. So, again, I'm not going to show that off in these videos, but if you want to take a look at how it looks like, that's basically the make and sort of description of that particular type of ring. Series 6 is not a good series. You do have a couple of really solid figures, and even one of them that I consider to be solid based on how I've described past figures. Again, it's not a quality figure based on fighting pose and design. Color scheme is amazing, just like his first figure, but we'll talk about it when we get to that figure. He's going to be the fourth one we're going to look at, so... the first one we are going to look at is the Bray Wyatt figure. Now, I lucked out in the first three series. The first three series, I had loose figures to go along with the carded figures. 4, 5, and 6, I don't have any of the loose figures, so all we're looking at in these series are the carded figures. When we get to Series 7, I've already got Series 7 laid out. I will make that video soon after this one ends. I do have all 4 figures loose to go along with the carded, so that's going to help a lot. Bray Wyatt, sadly, did pass away a couple months ago, and huge loss to the wrestling world. I don't know a lot about Bray Wyatt himself. I do know that I enjoy so many of his particular figures. Like the Mattel Zombies as an example. Those type of figures. Super cool figure. The Mattel Retro is no different. An incredible piece. If this one was a loose figure, this one would be a go-to playable action figure for any of those fans out there who actually do utilize these for actual play and matchups. Now, he just has a simple slamming motion. Arms go up, slam down. So, a very solid action feature. And, of course, like I said, when you look at the positioning of the arms, perfect for play. A great looking figure. One of the elites. I'd say so. With over 60 figures in this line, I think anything in the top 20 I would probably classify as an elite figure. Kind of like the way I broke down the LJNs. Now, the LJNs, I broke it down a little bit differently. I think there were 70 or 80 figures of the LJNs when you factor in all the variants and whatnot. So what I kind of looked at with the LJNs, I said the top 10 figures were your elite figures. 11 through 25, let's say, was like your top tier figures. So definitely the higher echelon of figures, but just not the pristine ones from the top 10. And then 26 to like 52 or something like that. 26 to 50 was your middle tier figures. And then 51 to the bottom, 72, 77, whatever the number was, would be your low level figures. So in this case, I could probably do the same. Here's your top 10 figures. Those are the most elite. And then 11 through 20, 21 through 40, etc. Either way, a great looking figure. And continuing on with the trend, you'll notice that none of the cards in any of the series that we've looked at show a series number. And that sucks. I mean, I've talked about plenty having to go online and actually look at the figure database to kind of determine what figure was released when. Again, if I was collecting these when they first came out, I would pretty much probably remember, figure for figure, series by series. It definitely helps that I was collecting these when the Mattel Creations started releasing their figures in 2022. So I'm able to keep track of, hey, this wave contained these figures. So I do have to look them up that way, and of course I keep them all in sequential series order, and then based on the series, I keep them in order as they appear on the back of the card. And 6 series in, you're still getting the stands. As I've said before, they did away with the stands later on, which sucks because to me that was a nice commodity. And the stands are just as valuable as the figures themselves, sometimes. And yeah, back with these whole downloading apps and scanning barcodes, no, not for me. One of the worst figures in the entire line is Daniel Bryan. And I think his name is Daniel Bryanson, if I'm not mistaken. Because I actually caught a couple of his matches online, and this was like pre-WWF days. I'm not sure where he was wrestling. Was it the indie circuit, or was he like ECW or something? I don't remember. It looked like an AWA background, where it's like this gym setting with, the fan seats, like regular foldable seats, sitting so close to the ring you could practically reach out and touch the wrestler in the ring. So I don't know about those. I mean, those don't like those high market, wrestling matches or anything like that. And he was going by Daniel Bryanson. So Daniel Bryan, from what I've heard about him, he is one of those high flyers. We're talking about, your rockers, your Superfly Jimmy Snuka type of deal. Again, only time other than those little couple matches I saw, anytime I've seen this guy, it's always been in Royal Rumbles. 2018 through 2021, I think I've saw, and that's about the only knowledge I have about, guys from what I classify as the modern era. It would have been a solid figure, but what are they doing? They're bringing you back to this crap. And I said it in the last video, I think. I'm starting to believe that in every single series, you're going to have at least one figure with this particular body type. And they kind of messed us up because they did this twice in this particular series. It is a terrible pose. Give this guy a regular body type. This could have been a fantastic figure. But instead of being a top or mid-tier figure, he's a bottom-tier figure, one of the worst. If I was simply going for the figures I enjoy and didn't care about collecting the whole set, I never would have gone for figures like this. This is garbage. And it does have a price tag sticker on here for $20. I don't remember what I paid for this, but I doubt it was $20. Again, I mean, all these figures were like crazy expensive, and I was all buying them all up individually and stuff. And later on, when I purchased bundles, I may have bought like a bundle of like 10 figures or something. Maybe there was like 1 or 2 in there that I actually needed, and then I had to resell the others because they were duplicates. And you never get your money worth for it. Like I said, I could have bought this for like $50, right? And I could have bought a bundle from another seller, let's say 10 figures for $400, just throw out a number. And I said, okay, I want to keep 2 figures. So let's say $40 a figure based on that number, right? I'm like, okay, I got to get $40 for each of these figures in order to come out even. And you might sell it, and you might get like $10 or $12 for it. So it sucks. Next one is a really solid figure. He was, I believe, the 2018 Royal Rumble champion. If I'm not mistaken, I think 2018 was the very first female Royal Rumble. And, what's her name? Asuke, I think her name was. She was, I believe, the first female Royal Rumble champion. And if she won that Royal Rumble, that means that Shinsuke Nakamura won his men's Royal Rumble as well. So I think that probably was the first time you would ever saw 2 Asian wrestling superstars win their respective Royal Rumble. So that was pretty awesome. Again, a really solid figure. I like the overall look. I talked about his Zombies figure where he's kind of looks like Michael Jackson's Thriller. And with that jacket, I mean, come on. No doubt. Representing MJ, love it. Great overall figure. His legs are a little bit small, but, you know, arms nice and spread apart. So that's pretty solid right there. And still, again, no series numbers. And I don't see them on Series 7 either, so you're probably never going to see them put the series number on the cards. And that's so frustrating. That right there is a huge bonus when sellers or distributors, when they market these figures, to put the series number on it, not to confuse fans. I actually want to get a loose figure of him, and every time I tried bidding on him, with loose figures, I'm not going to pay up for them. I refuse to. And now if I come across like a Junkyard Dog or a Ric Flair for like $40 as a buy it now or something, I'll do that only because I know, you know, normally they sell for $80+ even as a single individual loose figure. But for most of these guys, I'm basically tapping out at about $10. Maybe 15, but around $10 really is my limit for the loose figures. Shinsuke Nakamura, and we are at 11 minutes, so this video is going to go by really quickly. And it definitely helps go by a lot quicker when I don't have the loose figures to talk about, but... So, what was it? It was Series 1, I believe. Nope, it was Series 2. In Series 2, we saw the Crow Sting figure. And the overall look of the figure was absolutely amazing. I love the fact they created a Sting retro and added him to a collection. Brilliant. A fantastic, aesthetically pleasing, color scheme-wise figure. But the pose was absolute trash. Here in Series 6, just 4 series later, they're releasing their second copy of Sting. This time, you've got the red face Wolfpack version of Sting. What are they doing? They are sticking with the exact same body type. I talked about in Series 1, Undertaker. Undertaker, purple gloves, purple socks, you know, had the arms spread apart, slamming action pose. In Series 14, they use that exact same figure, exact same body type, exact same pose, action, the same purple gloves and socks. The only difference is they slapped a mask on it, and I despise that. Fantastic looking figure, no doubt, one of the best, but it's already been made. And creating that exact same figure with just a very tiny change to it made no sense. You're switching out Wolfpack for the Crow, but you're using the exact same body type. They could have gone to something like this. I would have been okay with that. They could have used the Bray Wyatt pose. Perfect. But no, they insisted on using the worst possible pose or body type, and it's so incredibly frustrating. So it's kind of really annoying by a lot of customizers to an extent, toy production companies. People act like they were never children. They act like they never played with toys or whatnot, and we all know from childhood what it was like to wrestle with certain figures, what we enjoyed about the figure, what we hated. Those figures, if I was a kid right now and I was playing with these, you know, I was opening up out of the package and I was wrestling them, I would get absolutely no enjoyment from this Daniel Bryan or Sting figure, and it's so incredibly frustrating. I use Random Treasures a lot as an example. They create these figures with like these ridiculous poses that are unplayable figures. Yes, they're marketed towards adults for nostalgia purposes, and they want them for display. Got it. But remember, they're action figures. Action figures are meant for play, not for display. It's irrelevant how we're using these figures. I might just be showing them off, displaying them, but I still want something where I could actually look at it as a playable figure, and that's just not what you're getting from a lot of these figures. And I tried telling Net before, hey, you know what, keep in mind that these are playable figures. They're not ceramic. You know, they're not metal figures. They're not statues. So if you were creating a statue, I get it. But the rubber toys, right? So, and Mattel, Hasbro did it. LJN has a ton of figures that are like that. Oddly enough, I think the thumb wrestlers, because every figure is the exact same. I didn't even like thumb wrestlers as a kid, but man, looking at them as an adult, they've got to be some of the most playable figures out there. And every figure is playable, so there's like no hard feelings about hating on one figure compared to another. Well, that's my rant for the end of this video. Alright guys, again, 2018 release, Series 6. I'm going to stay down, make a couple more videos, knock out the last of 2018's Series 7 video, and I'm going to knock out Series 8 as well. That means I'll only have to knock out 2 more videos for the first initial release of the Mattel Retros, before the Mattel Creations Wave 1 through Wave 4 came out in the last couple years. Alright, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.